Hi everybody, welcome to music. This is for TK, kindergarten, and first grade students. Welcome. Let's go ahead and get our singing voices warmed up. Let me hear you go, woo! Let's try that again. Woo! Now let's start low and go high. Ready? Woo! Do that one more time. Woo! Now let's start up. Let's go up, down, okay? Here you go. Woo! Do the opposite, ready? Woo! Awesome. All right. Hello, hello, class. How are you today? You might hear my cat meowing in the background. He's a little whiny this morning. Let's sing that one more time. Hello, hello, class. How are you today? Fabulous. All right, we're going to start with some Looby Loo. You ready? Let's tap the beat on our legs. Here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. Put your right arm in. Take your right arm out. Give your right arm a shake, shake, shake. And turn yourself about. Oh, here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. Put your left arm in. Take your left arm out. Give your left arm a shake, shake, shake. And turn yourself about. Oh, here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. Put both elbows in. Take both elbows out. Give both elbows a shake, shake, shake. And turn yourself about. Oh, here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. Put your head in. Take your head out. Give your head a shake, shake, shake. And turn yourself about. Oh, here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. This one's your favorite, I know it is. Put your whole self in. Take your whole self out. Give your whole self a shake, shake, shake. And turn yourself about. Oh, here we go, Looby Loo. Here we go, Looby Light. Here we go, Looby Loo. On a Saturday night. Wonderful. Were you singing with your most beautiful singing voice? Remember, our talking voice is different. It's down here. Our singing voice is up here. Woo! That's where your singing voice comes from. You know that. Okay. We sang a song about a train last week, and I'm wondering if anybody remembers what that song is. Anyone? I'll give you a hint. Here it is. Sing the last word out loud for me. Just the last word. Do you think you can do that? Let's try it. Here we go. Clack. You're right. It's clickety clack. Let's sing the whole thing. Here we go. Clickety clickety clack. Clickety clickety clack. Clickety 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 clack. Wonderful. I want you to stand up, and you are going to do this with your feet moving, okay? Your feet are going to be doing what our hands are doing. Our hands are doing this. Now your feet are going to do it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Do you think you can keep the clickities in your feet and the clacks you're going to jump? Let's try it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. You did it. Awesome. How about, can you do the opposite? I'm not going to do it because I'm old, but you're going to do it. You are going to jump for the clickities and stomp for the clacks. Let's try it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Wonderful. Go ahead, sit back down, shake your body out, and let it freeze. And relax. Okay, make that track for me with your arm. And let's have our train start on our hand. First clickety clack goes here. Second clickety clack goes here. Last one ends on our shoulder. Let's try it. Clickety clickety clack. Clickety clickety clack. Clickety 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 clack. Did you make it to your shoulder? Let's try it again. Okay? Make sure that you end up on your shoulder, but the first one only goes to your elbow. Okay? Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Do the opposite. So this time we'll start on our shoulder, go to our elbow, back to shoulder, all the way return to our hand. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Did you make it? All right, let's do something really wild. Let's see if we can start on our opposite shoulder. And we'll go to our head. So clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clickety has to touch your shoulder, and that's going to go all the way down and touch your knee. Okay? Let's try it. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Did it make it to your knee? Awesome. How about start on your foot, and your foot's going to come up to your knee, back down to your foot, and then you're going to bring it all the way back to your head at the end. Okay? Let's try it. I know you can't see my feet, but that's okay. I know you can do it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Did you make it to your head? Awesome. Okay, let's do a teeny tiny one. Last week we tried this on our finger. Let's do that again, but this time, instead of using your pointer finger, use your pinky. It's even smaller. Let's try it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Shake your fingers out. Shake your hands out. Shake your arms out. And let them relax. Awesome. So we talked about this with its line last week, with its song, its melodic contour. So here's our clickety clack. Actually, I had it backwards, sorry. This is our clickety clack. And we are starting, is this higher or lower than this point? Is it up higher or is it down lower? Yeah, this is higher. So we're going to start up here with our voice, and then we're going to bring it down low. Let's try it. Clickety, clickety, clack. Then we do it again. Clickety, clickety, clack. Then we start in the same place. Clickety, clickety. Oh, what happens here? Yeah, the line's moving up. It's getting higher. So we have clickety, 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 clickety. Then what happens? We go way down low, right? Clickety, clickety, clack. And then we go up. So it's like middle, higher, lower, middle. Let's try the whole thing. Do you think you can point with your pinky with me? Let's try it. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Wonderful. Let's try that line, but with the words. Do you think you can do that for me? Let's try it. How about instead of pointing with your pinky, this time point with your pointer finger. Okay. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Awesome. How about point at it with your elbow? I'm not able to do that because I'm holding the words up, but you can do that at home. Try it with your elbow. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Try it with your head. So I want you to point at it while you're looking at it with your head. Here we go. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, clickety, clack. Clickety, 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 clack. Wonderful. Well, every song has some type of shape to it, has some kind of way that we can track it with highs and lows. And sometimes when we have our songs written out, like when we had clickety clack written out like this, it's easier to see that. You can see when it's higher, when it's lower. Music shows that, and we're going to be learning about that as you get older. Okay? We learned another new song last week, and it goes like this. Sing it with me if you know. If you don't, listen, and then you could sing it with me next time. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Do you remember that? Let's try it together. Here we go. And remember, we roll forward first. Go see who you can see. Point out away from you. And then we sing the second time. You roll in and bring your arms in. Okay? Let's try it. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Wonderful. Do you think you can do that without me doing it? Let's try it. Here we go. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Wonderful. Well, guess what? We have a melodic line for that one as well. Ooh. Ooh, ah. Say ooh, ah. Let's look at the first one, okay? Here's the first one. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. So the whole song sort of does this down, up sort of line to it, doesn't it? Let's try that one more time with our line. Maybe just point at it with your pointer finger, okay? With your index finger. Here we go. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Yeah. Well, we learned how to do this with our arms. Let's go ahead and do it one more time with our arms, and then I'm going to teach you a game that you can play. And it's easier to play if you have other people with you, but you could do this if you have like stuffed animals or toys. You could pretend like they're people. It's still pretty fun. So we'll do it with our hands one more time, okay? Here we go. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. So the first phrase, when we're saying go see who you can see, you're going out. And then the last phrase, we're coming back in, right? Well, Betty's actually going to help show this. So let's say, hi, Betty. So what's going to happen is the first time, and I'm just going to show you, she's going to roll one way, and then she's going to roll back the other way, okay? So if you have two people, or if you have stuffed animals, maybe you have one stuffed animal and one person, have one on each side of where you're going to roll, and you can roll on the ground. How cool is that? You could roll on a bed, you could roll on the ground, you could roll on the grass. I know rolling in the grass is really fun, especially right now because it's not too hot yet. So here we go. Let's sing it for Betty, okay? Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Is that cool? This time she's going to roll out to you, and then she's going to come back to me, okay? Here we go. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, go see who you can see. Oh, roly-poly, pickety-pat, and now come back to me. Isn't that a fun game? Yeah. If you play this with a person, I recommend having the person be the one you start with. So you could have your person here, and you could have a stuffed animal over here. You start with your person, roll to your stuffed animal, And then when you come back, now come back to me, you can give that person a hug when you come back to them. Isn't that a fun game? I like that one. I think it's fun. So we sang before Roly Poly. Betty, you missed it. You were taking your nap still. We were singing a song called Clickety Clack. Yes, it is about a train. Good memory, Betty. So clickety clack is supposed to be the sound that a train makes. Well, I was cleaning one of the rooms in my house. I'm sure a lot of you are having to do that right now, huh? Since we're not going to school, we're going to school on our computers and stuff. So you might have to do chores at home. Well, guess what? Mrs. Habib has to do chores at home too. So I was cleaning a room and I found this book that I forgot I had. It's called Nicolini's Song. Now, look what's on there. There's a man. Yeah, it's a conductor. His name's Nicolini. And what are these? They're trains, right? And we were already singing Clickety Clack, so I thought, well, it'd be perfect. Let's go ahead and read this book. Are you ready to read this book with me? All right, so here's Nicolini's Song by Chuck Wilcoxon, illustrated by Mark Buhner. And how about I'll go ahead and read it, and then I'll show you the pictures, okay? So, a long time ago, before there were space shuttles, superhighways, or jumbo jets, there were trains. The great engines would rest at night in rail yards, protected in the dark by watchmen. Nicolini was a watchman. So he's keeping the trains safe at night, making sure nobody's doing anything to them. Some watchmen were as cold and hard and strong as the engines they cared for. Nicolini was not. He was a quiet man. His wife said he was always a good listener. Every night, dark or starry, Nicolini would rather wander around the rail yard, lantern in hand, listening for trouble. He hoped he wouldn't find any. See him looking. One night, Nicolini thought he heard footsteps. Well, he knew he heard footsteps, but he tried to convince himself that he hadn't. Like all rail yard watchmen, Nicolini had been trained in the proper use of a Hempstead harmonic alarm whistle. He blew and blew. Dizzy from blowing, he stopped and listened to the footsteps race off through the gravel, followed by panicky rattles and clanks at the fence. On the weakest of knees, Nicolini climbed between two cars and aimed his lantern at the dark figures wobbling at the top of the fence. Never had raccoons looked so embarrassed or watchmen so relieved. So what was making the sound? Yeah, just the raccoons. Nicolini sat down next to a steam engine to collect himself. He was still just a little upset. The night was once again quiet. Nicolini closed his eyes. A deep voice nearby whispered, "Are they gone?" Nicolini kept his eyes closed and slowly reached for his whistle. What do you think he's gonna find? "No, please, no more whistling." The voice was very polite. Nicolini opened one eye and peered to his left. He opened his other eye and peered to his right. He was certain that he was alone. "I've got a big day tomorrow, and I'm afraid I might never get back to sleep," the voice said. Nicolini turned to the steam engine and tilted his head. No! Just about anybody can hear a steam engine as it thunders down the track, right? It's clickety-clack. But it takes a very good listener to hear a steam engine worry. 77 boxcars from here to Waxahachie and only 3 hours sleep, it said. Oh, that can't be good. Nicolini blinked. "Would you sing to me?" the locomotive asked. "Something low and sweet?" Nicolini slowly turned all the way around to be absolutely sure no one was playing a trick on him. He took a step closer to the engine. He placed his hand on the cool steel and began to hum a tune his mother used to sing to him when he was a boy. He could remember only some of the words, so as he began to sing, he made up a new song for the locomotive. It was a song about gentle heels, steady tailwinds, and feathers for freight. Soon, Nicolini knew the anxious engine was asleep. You see him singing? The next night, Nicolini had to sing another engine to sleep, and then another and another, each with its own song. Nicolini knew that some of the trains were perfectly capable of falling asleep without a lullaby. In fact, there were nights when certain engines who felt unloved would wake themselves up just to have Nicolini sing them back to sleep. Nicolini didn't mind. The words came to him easily. The tune was always the same, and it cost him nothing to bring them comfort. One hot night, Nicolini sat at the edge of the yard between a frustrated brake car and the wooden fence. He sang softly of smooth stops and cooperative cabooses. On the other side of the fence, a path had been worn through the weeds by a mother who, on restless nights, would walk from the city with her baby. She would walk and walk and walk, swaying and praying that her baby would fall asleep in her strong, soft arms. As Nicolini sang to the brake car, he heard footsteps coming down the path. It was the mother with her baby. And this night, Nicolini was close enough to the fence for them to be caught and held by his soothing voice. The brake car snored gently on its siding. Nicolini sang the softest, sweetest song about cool sheets and leafy breezes. The baby fell asleep. The mother whispered 1,000 thanks and tiptoed back to the city. Night after night, she would return with her baby. Nicolini would sing to them, and she would whisper her thanks over the fence. The mother told her friends about the rail yard lullabies, and soon there was a line of crying babies and exhausted mothers waiting at the fence for Nicolini. The trains didn't seem to mind, and then came the big night. It was only wind. But it was a wind that whistled in chimneys and shook last year's kites out of the trees. Windows rattled and shutters clattered, and nobody could get to sleep. Finally, the wind died down, but the children in the city didn't. Babies wailed, older children tossed and turned, and parents sat on their rumpled beds staring up at the ceiling. Then, starting with the most desperate mothers, someone in each building remembered Nicolini. Before too long, the rail yard was completely surrounded by crying babies, temper-troubled children, exasperated parents, and several disconcerted dogs, with no other hope than Nicolini. The noise was deafening, and the confusion was overwhelming. Nicolini stood on a box in the middle of the yard and sang a beautiful lullaby about calm water, warm sand, deep shadows, and gently swaying hammocks. Look, Betty, it's you. She was there, apparently. Nobody heard a word. The crowd was too big and murmurous. Nicolini listened. He walked over to a steam engine, and it spoke to him softly. Nicolini smiled and nodded. He walked over to his box, climbed up, raised his hands over his head. He pointed to the largest locomotive, and it began to whistle low and soft, as if it were miles away. He pointed to a smaller engine, and it began to blow. He pointed to another and another. Soon they were all blowing softly. Then Nicolini began to move his hands gracefully. The whispers began to play a tune, the same tune Nicolini remembered from his childhood. The same tune the trains had heard and loved. So Nicolini is conducting the trains. The crowds grew quiet. The dogs curled up and closed their red-rimmed eyes with heavy sighs. The children became calm. Babies fell asleep. One by one, parents began to go back from the fence, stroking the damp hair of their sleeping children as they quietly carried them up the dirt path back to the city. One by one, Nicolini thanked each of the locomotives. One by one, they said, "You're welcome." Nicolini picked up his lantern and listened. All he could hear was crickets and yawns. Then all of the trains whispered together in the dark and tender night, "Good night, Nicolini. Good night." The end. Isn't that a fun story? I like it. And I really liked that Nicolini works for the trains, and the person who takes your tickets on a train is called a conductor. But a different kind of conductor is the person who leads musicians with singing or playing an instrument. They stand up there and they conduct like this. I do this sometimes. I liked that he's a train conductor and he becomes a musical conductor as well. So, all right, I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of this week. Remember to stay safe with your family. And let's go ahead and sing our goodbye song. And Betty will be here with us, okay? Here we go. Goodbye, goodbye, class. I will see you next Tuesday. All right, goodbye.